Hi everyone, thanks for having us here today. I'm Helene and this is my sidekick, Jenny May. And we're just going to share with you some stories about coaching and what we do to build a high performance team with the Northern Mystics. So I guess opportunities are what makes the most of life. When we take them up, our future can often be brighter and we just need the courage to do so. And about 7 years ago, I was presented with an opportunity. I got a phone call from a stranger who wanted to play in my netball team that I was coaching at the time. I picked up the phone and they said, "Hi, it's Jenny May Coffin here. I wonder if you've got a spare place in your team." Oh my gosh, I was thinking, how on earth did this woman get my number? It's Jenny May Coffin, the Silver Fern. She's just been playing ANZ. She's famous, she reads the sports news. How on earth have I got anything to offer her? Well, Jenny May was actually reaching the end of her career, let's be honest, mate. We were coming to the end. And
I'm a little old now.
a little old, we're getting a little old. And we had a discussion about why she wanted to come and play in my team. What she wanted to do was grow netball and give back to the next generation of players. And the moment she said that to me, I was like, pick your jaw up off the ground. It would be an awesome opportunity to work with someone who wants to give back to the sport that we both love. And today, here we are 7 years later in an amazing coaching partnership together. So my story is a little different to that of most people in netball. I was not a Silver Fern who decided to become a coach. My athletic accolades came to a screaming halt in my early 20s when I realised I wasn't blessed with the athletic prowess of all my sporty friends. But I loved sport at school, and that is where my coaching journey began. Making the premier netball side at my school, it was a requirement to coach a school netball team. From that moment I was hooked, and I've been coaching ever since. My love of sport and coaching led me to become a PE teacher. I had the pleasure of teaching many subjects at school in both New Zealand and Australia before becoming a full-time mum to my 2 boys. Coaching was part of the job as a PE teacher. All PE teachers usually coach a sports team. And during my time of being a mum, I got the opportunity to continue volunteering and working as a coach, working my way up through the ranks of representative coaching until I had the honour of being a national secondary schools netball coach. Many, many years of mistakes, lots of reflection, and figuring out how to be a better coach, mixed in with a few championship successes, were the foundations of how I learnt to be a quality leader. Put in simple terms, I was that person who rolled up their sleeves and got stuck into learning the trade of coaching and leading over many, many years. After spending 6 awesome years at home being a mum, I needed to get back to work, and I was fortunate enough to land a job at High Performance Sport New Zealand. This is a government agency who prepares our New Zealand athletes for the Olympics and World Championships. I was employed as an athlete life advisor. It's sort of like a life coach position where I worked with the All Black Sevens, New Zealand Women's Sevens, and the Black Sticks women's hockey team. My role in that position was to ensure that as people, everything in their life was sorted so that they could go into an Olympic final and perform at their best. This role was about growing people, the foundation of what I believe is great leadership. They needed to be leaders in their team, for their sport and for their country. And I had to ensure that they were self-aware, reflective, had study or work opportunities outside of their sport, and also grow to understand the unique lifestyle experiences that you get being an Olympic athlete. Things like gaining sponsorship to be able to afford to travel, taking on the media and being confident to stand up and speak in front of others. It was my job to make sure they would succeed in their life while being on the world stage in the public eye. A wonderful role where I got to work with some amazing people, growing their skills to be the best version of themselves. And during these years, I continued to coach netball, and that knowledge of growing people enabled me to step into the role of being the head coach of the Northern Mystics for 2017. So share your story? Yeah.
Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa, he uri tēnei no maniapoto, ko Jenny May Clarkson tōku ingoa. So yes, I'm Helene's sidekick at the Northern Mystics. And just to give you a quick background in terms of how I actually got to be part of an awesome organisation is I started off in a small town called Piopio. Anybody know where that is? 1, love it. 1 in a room. 2, 3 even, I think, maybe. Small town in the King Country. My claim to fame is that I went to school with Rob Waddell. And from this small tiny school, which went from J1, which is year 1, through to year 13, we had about 300 students. So I left there, went to Hamilton, went to the Big Smoke, where I studied for a couple of years, and then at the age of 19 I was accepted into the police force. So I worked in Hamilton for 9 years, and during that time I also studied to become a PE and health teacher. Never actually got there, finished my 4 years but never actually got to teach because I was offered a job in radio, breakfast radio in Hamilton. I did that for a few years, and then I ended up in television at TVNZ as a reporter and a sometimes sports reader, which is now what I also do at TVNZ on the news, as well as being part, as I said before, of an awesome organisation. So that's been my kind of journey to here. You also heard that I was a Silver Fern. I was also part of the New Zealand Women's Touch team many haircuts ago. And I guess in terms of coming to this point in being a high performance coach, it was all about me wanting to be the very best that I could be and looking for ways in order to achieve that. I went on so many different camps, and I guess I'm telling you this because sometimes, and I always look at sport, that there's so many correlations between sport and business, is that our coaches used to take us on all these activities. I can tell you I've done pretty much most things that you do with a team. Stayed out in the bush till 3 o'clock in the morning, been up on high wire courses, all sorts of things. And I haven't actually found any success in terms of that transferring to our performance as a team on court. So when you're thinking about doing team building things, think about how you can actually transfer the knowledge that's learnt and the things that you observe. How does that transfer into you and your business? How does it make it better? Because some people do it because it's just part of what you do, when in actual fact, what are the outcomes? So that's been my journey through to high performance. What we'd like for this session to be is for you guys to actually ask us some questions. Now we've got little things to talk to you about in terms of how you actually create a high performance environment, about how you build trust, all those sorts of things. Because sometimes we have opportunities in a team, because this is what we do in teams. We go, we've all got to be honest, mate. If you're not happy with me, you need to tell me. If I haven't set up an environment whereby, as a player who has come into the team, and Maria Tutai is standing there, and I'm saying, mate, you're in the wrong space, you need to be down there. As a new kid on the block, I'm not sure I can be that honest. So honest conversations are great. We just have to make sure that we have the right environment in order for that to occur. Does that make sense? Because you can say it, and we all say it, let's be honest with one another. There'll be a little bit that you're holding back because you're not really sure if you can say that. So you've got to build that platform first, an environment whereby people feel that they can be honest. So there's knowing the people that you're with, and then there's friends. I've played netball for a long time. I have Helene as a friend, and not many others. Because we've all got a common thing, which is netball. But I don't necessarily want to hang out with those people. They're good people, but I don't want to hang out with them, go and have a coffee and catch up, because I've got a lot of other friends that I can do that with. So this is the common thing we've got, which is netball. So when you talk about being friends and then getting to know one another, can you see where I'm going? That's two different things. So you don't always have to be friends with people, but you can still know and understand someone. I remember talking to one of the girls, and she's now a silver fern, and she said to me, I said, oh, so, you know, why do you love netball? And she said, oh, because, you know, you get to travel and you get to make really good mates. I said, oh, that's cool. How many of the girls have you had coffee with? Oh, how many of the girls have been to your flat? Been to dinner, been to the movies. So are they really your friends? She said, oh, no, probably not then. I said, no, because you've got friends outside of that. So I guess all I'm saying is that just know the difference between getting to know somebody and then you're all being mates and friends. Yeah. I'll just go back to this point here. So conversations. So when we talk about trust within our environment, we talk about having quality conversations. And that's how we build a trusting environment. Now, what do we mean by quality conversations? It's about sharing our experiences. It's about sharing our feelings. What else in terms of that quality?
Just talking about performance. What we do out on the court, rather than talking personally to a person.
Because sometimes, as I've said before, you can, if we have conversations in our team, it's about, okay, so if this was to happen and this is the reaction and this is the reaction, so it takes away from all the personal stuff, takes out the friendship stuff. It's about talking about what was required for performance. Does that make sense? And so far this year, we're doing all right. Our season hasn't quite started yet, so we'll find out soon enough. So in terms of building a trusting environment, quality conversations. Well done, that man. Okay, right, Helene, you can talk for a bit now.
So I'm just going to carry on talking about how you actually get a high-performance team together and how you build it. And I guess one of my earliest learnings is that to be a great leader, your key asset is the people that you have to work with. So to build a successful high-performance team, my aim was to recruit the best people who were the best at their job, but most importantly, had the best character. So I look at the person first, and then their skill set and what they can offer me comes next. It's actually my job as the leader of the Northern Mystics to support everyone on my team and extract the best parts out of them, the greatness that they have already lying within themselves. It's not about me creating people who want to follow me. It's about me creating people who want to lead and be leaders with the expertise that they bring. I'm not interested in followers, and I'm not interested in self-indulged people who have a big ego, who like to be in the spotlight. So, when we assembled the management and the players for the Northern Mystics in 2017, I made sure as the leader that I sat down and talked to every single person individually that I was interested in. And I asked them two key questions. Why do you want to play or work for the Northern Mystics? And if you were successful in our recruitment strategy, what would success look like for you? What would you notice people doing in our Northern Mystics environment? And the answers to these questions were actually incredibly critical. I needed to know that they wanted to be part of a high-performing team. They needed to be enthusiastic about everyone, all the people being successful and shining in our group. And they had to be prepared to do the hard work that it takes to be the very best. I looked for an ability to see how well they understood what they were talking about matched up with what behaviours were required to contribute to our success. And the result is we believe we've got a team in 2017 that's full of really great people. They also want to lead our Netball Northern Zone community. So it's actually about something bigger than just doing their job day to day. They want to be leaders for every young female playing netball across our Northern Zone, which is from Waiuku to Kaitaia. And they're also passionate about doing hard work and making a dream happen that we will be the best team in the country. Great high-performing teams are built on invisible belief systems that underpin every single person that you have. Every individual has a set of beliefs that have evolved through your life experience. They're not right or wrong, they're often just slightly different. So you need to get a handle on what are the beliefs of the people that you have coming to work for you, and how do they show those beliefs in their actions and their behaviours in day-to-day work. Our job as a leader is to collate all those beliefs of each individual and work with them to create a vision so that you all know where you're heading in your company. Our collective vision at the Sky City Mystics is to grow great people who are hard-working professionals and who want to produce world-leading performances. They also want to inspire our netball community. My role is to connect what that means in a collective understanding and a collective vision with that. We need to make sure that everyone's beliefs are aligned and we have a sense of personal responsibility to hold each other accountable to what we say we want to achieve in our vision. So what do I do to make sure that happens? I listen to people's language that comes out of their mouth. There's a lot of I's, it's often they're thinking about themselves and not how they can serve and work with the people around them. I watch their actions and give them opportunities to share their beliefs with me through their action. I don't tell them what to do, but I let them learn. I let them experience the learning or the action, and then we discuss what it meant after I've seen it happen. I spend time noticing if their words match their behaviours. And I look for an underlying belief of gratitude about how lucky we are to be at the Northern Mystics, and a personal responsibility around fulfilling what they said in those two questions, key questions, when we recruited them. So in our environment, high performance is about living on the edge of what you can do and what you haven't done before. So it's about us giving things a go in that kind of icky space that you don't necessarily know is going to work out right, but we have those really key conversations to make sure that we're always being better than what we were before.
I just want to pick up on what Helene is talking about there in terms of having good people. So when we looked at recruiting, and you'll have to do this if you're looking at different people that have got certain skills that you need to be part of your team, is there were 3 silver ferns that wanted to be part of our team. But what they were saying and what their actions were different. So at the end of it, Helene and I went, we don't actually want those people part of our organisation. Now, yes, they possess the skills that we want, but in terms of who they are as people, it doesn't sit well with us. So that there was a determining fact for us. Somebody else can provide those skills for us, but have the people skills that we want to be part of our organisation. It was the people part that was of most importance to us in our organisation, and that's how we've set it up. And as a result of that, we have a team full of girls who are prepared to live life on the edge, who feel uncomfortable every single training that we put them through. And they have no idea, and sometimes we don't either. We throw an idea out there and we go, mate, let's give it a go. I know that this is a bit uncomfortable, and we've had games and they've felt very uncomfortable because it's not something that they are used to. But because we've got good people, they're happy to do that. It stretches them, and sometimes they push back at us, but they still give it a go. If Helene and I had decided we were going to recruit the other way, I can guarantee it now, there would be 2 or 3 girls in that team that would push things to a limit, and everybody else that would just do what they've always done, which at the end of the day, we know just produces the same old stuff. We haven't won a competition yet. So in order to do that, we determined that good people were what we needed first, and then skills is the second thing that we looked at. So what they were saying and what they were doing were 2 different things. Doesn't sit well with us. Thanks for coming, buddy. Goodbye. Don't care who you are.
And I guess adding on to that, a key difference this year is I'm the first head coach of any franchise team not to have an assistant. So in netball, those of you who follow netball, there's a head coach and there's an assistant coach who sits underneath the head coach. Jenny May is not an assistant to me. You can see she's quite competent and capable. So I've recruited the best people that I can with a skill set to lead the area that they're responsible for. So as a leader, although I am responsible for the overseeing of the program, Jenny May has a role to ensure that her specialist skills are used to create the best performance that we can get. My strength and conditioning coach has a role of ensuring the players are as fit and healthy and ready to perform. So everyone has a leadership role within our team, and everyone is responsible for ensuring that they make that part of the plan happen. When you give people titles as an assistant to you, what I found is that the players will go to the assistant, and if they don't get the answer they like, they'll then come back to me and play us off against each other. But the players know, with Jenny May leading the area, she's competent and good at what she does, that when she goes to her, she will lead and make decisions in that area, and I trust that she will do the job required to get the job done.
I think we're getting wound up, so just before we wrap things up, a learning from that with what Helene has just said, it's actually being confident enough to understand what you're good at and what you're not that good at, or you have holes in, and surrounding yourself with those people that can actually fill that role. Because a lot of us tend to go, no, I can do it all. I know, and then you fall over in one area and you go, oh, okay, sweet, cool. Yeah, I didn't think that I was that confident in it, but anyway. All right, so it's understanding yourself, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're not so good at, and getting people around you that can fill that gap with what you're not so good at. But also remembering that you can continue to grow. Even though you think you know something, there's still always growth in that area. So on that note,
Yeah, thanks for having us.
yeah, thanks very much.